Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums. So some time ago in a swap, a friend of mine sent me this origami kimono. And this was perfect because my sister-in-law loves the culture. She's been to Japan, she taught in Japan, and she still is in touch with people. So her birthday's coming up, and I thought I would make a card. So I am taking a embossing folder. Couldn't remember the word for a second. It's got numbers on it, but if you look at it real quick, you can't tell if it's numbers or symbols. So I thought that would be great to use for a card. So I'm trying to figure out what the perfect sandwich is for the. I'm doing it several times, trying to get the right layers for the perfect sandwich for my die cutting machine. So eventually I get it and I pull out the paper and it's got lots of white on it. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to try it again. It took me this long to figure out the sandwich recipe properly. I'm just going to grab some ink and ink it up just to take off that white where the paper cracked. Now I'm looking at it on here and it doesn't look so bad, but it's not the look I was going for. So I go ahead and I ink it up and come up with something that's going to match nicely. It's got some of that green in it, so even though I'm using a darker teal, if I add this greener teal ink to it, it'll tone it down and it'll blend a little bit more. And I loved how it covered up all of the white. All right, now that I got that embossing folder business out of the way, I'm trying to figure out what my other color will be. I know I want gold on the base. I just thought the gold as an accent piece would be fabulous. So I don't have very much gold metallic paper in my stash. I had this one sheet, and I'm going to try to use this red. It sort of matched with the red in the kimono. I just had to make sure I had the right size. I don't have a full piece of paper, but I cut it down. Now, since I don't have very much of the gold, I decide I'm going to cut some of that down, and I end up using it for the sentiment, so I'm glad I did save that. Sorry for the glare, but it's a metallic paper. What can you do? So I'm just using my craft knife to cut sort of a hole out of this rectangle. I will grab my ATG machine to add tape because I don't want to use liquid adhesive with this metallic paper. It bubbles up underneath. You can see it. So you need to use not a liquid adhesive. So I've tried to get this on here nice and square. That's the only good thing about the liquid. Well, there's a lot of good things about the liquid adhesive, but you have some time to mess around. Okay, there. We take care of that glare. So I'm figuring out the right positioning for both of these layers. So I want to have the blue or teal on top and the red on the bottom, but I want them to be at a diagonal. So I'm making a mark here on where I want to cut everything. And then I take them both together, put them in my trimmer, and just cut from one mark to the other. So that will be a perfect cut if you cut them both at the same time. So I know I'm done with the teal piece, and I was going to glue it, but I decided just because of all of the layers, I really need to put on some double-sided permanent adhesive. So I have a 2-inch piece, and I know it's a little bit down in the screen, but you can see I'm just adding double-sided adhesive to this. I have the 2-inch piece. I have some score tape. There we go. I'm burnishing that on. I'm thinking, do I want to use glue for that triangular piece that I didn't cover? And decide, no, I'm going to grab, I think it's a 1-inch piece. It might be 3/4-inch roll of the adhesive, but I just put that on in that one area that's not covered. Cut that, burnish it. Just because there's so much dimension to this, I felt a little more comfortable using the double-sided adhesive rather than trying a liquid glue, especially doing it onto that gold. All right, it looks good. You can't see any of the cracking in there. So now I dry fit that red piece, and I take this washi tape. I got this again from the same gal who swapped me. I was getting into junk journals, and so she said, "Look, I have a lot of things for junk journals. Let me share some with you." I was like, "Well, that would be great." So she sent me several different origami, I think they were paper clips, the hidden paper clips. But she made this fabulous kimono, and I've had it. It's been over 2 years, and might even be 3 years. And yeah, she also sent me some of this washi tape, and this red washi tape has a slight pattern to it, but it's gold, and since I wanted gold, I thought this would be perfect. So I'm just trying to get that washi tape onto this piece of red. I cut the bottom and I just burnish it on there. But I want a little more detail. I put it in here and I figure, it's good, but let's make it pop. And I'm again sorry about the glare. That's what happens when you use metallics. But in my stash, I'm going to head and glue this down. In my stash, I had gone a couple of years ago, and I don't know if they still have it, but I had gone to a local Dollar Tree. And in the cosmetic section, they had this. It's nail art tape. And it's this really super thin metallic tape. The hardest part is trying to find the end of it. It's going to take me a little while. But I got it in gold and I got it in silver. And again, I've had this for several years because, I don't use it every day. But it's just that greatest little detail. Now, if I were smart, I would have put this on before I glued the paper, but I make it work. So I do one on the top of that washi tape and one on the bottom. It's one of those details I don't know if anybody will notice but me, but I have to take an X-Acto to try to trim it. I mess up on the one. As I peel it, the whole piece comes up, so I have to try to put it down again, thinking, all right, is this going to go down or should I just grab another piece? But eventually it does go down and I can trim it with the scissors. That's safer than my X-Acto. I'll burnish it with a bone folder. Probably, if I was smart, I probably should have just added a little dot of glue at the end just to keep it, but I know I'm going to cover it. So I want to put on the kimono right there, but I decide two things. Number one, I'm not nuts about the red, and I don't feel like that kimono shows real well. So you might see, I see that I have this one piece of paper in my scrap stash. It's actually from a dog collection, but I wish I had seen it to begin with because that paper, it it just seems to go a little better. So I'm going to cut it and just put it over the other paper. The red in the kimono is more of a orangey red more than a brick red. So that's why I decide I really wasn't happy with it. And two, I liked having that tone on tone pattern to the paper. I just think it added something to the design. So I cover it just to make it fit over what I've already done. Just it's a smidge underneath where that uh, little strip of gold nail art is. So I'll go ahead and burnish this, and then I take the kimono and I want to put it with the background of the not washi tape, the vellum. So I trace it with my pencil very carefully. My idea is to cut out just a little bit bigger than what I've done. So I trace it with my pencil and I cut maybe about an 1/8 inch bigger. But I probably shouldn't have done it this way. tracing it with the pencil. Now I'm going to have to erase that pencil line. So wait till you see what happens. Yeah, I don't know if you could see, but I ripped the paper, the vellum, as I was erasing the lines. So no big deal. Grab another piece of vellum. This time I think, you know what, I'm not going to draw on it. I just took some ATG and just put a couple of dots. Stuck that one original piece of vellum onto the other piece of vellum, and I'm just going to try to replicate the cut without having to have any pencil lines on there. And we'll see if I can do it without tearing the vellum. So I go ahead and do the cut. And now the trick is to peel the one piece off so the ATG doesn't rip it. So just gently, and it works. So now I take my little kimono. See, I do like it, except I think that what I cut might be a little bit too big, so I feel like I have to trim it down. So yeah, I'm looking at it just trying to decide, do I like it? Do I not like it? So yes, I am going to have to trim it down a little, but before I do, I'm going to take a little bit of, it's baker's twine, white with a little bit of gold running through it. I just wanted to introduce that gold to the kimono, just because that's, you know, the gold is not a focal point, but the kimono is. So I just wanted to tie the two together. I know that you normally don't have a little tie on your kimono. All right, here's something about me. I can't tie a bow to save my life. And yes, I know there are other ways to do it. And actually that one that I did right then was good. If I had just left it alone, it would have been fine. I'm going to fast forward this because it just becomes a bow tying mess. And once I get the bow tied, then I trim the little strings and I add some ATG to the vellum and glue the vellum down. Of course, I'm only going to add it where you're not going to see it because it'll be covered by the kimono. I'm trimming a little bit of it off right now. And I apologize for being out of frame. So hopefully you can still get the idea of what I'm doing. So now I'll add a little bit of ATG and glue to the vellum, burnish that down, and put some ATG on the kimono. I decided I'm just going to use ATG just in case my sister-in-law wants to use it for something else. Okay, now that I've got that all done, now I need a sentiment. I toyed with the idea of just leaving the front of it blank, but I decided it's a birthday card. I really need to say happy birthday, whether I do it inside or out, and I might as well do it on the outside. So I use this little die that I've had in my stash, and I use the teal and the gold, and I need to glue it all down. So the best way to glue those teeny little letters, I don't have a small little piece. I just add some glue on a piece of paper and sort of tap my happy into it, and then I do the same with the birthday. So I get it all together, and then I will adhere this to the front of the card. Oh, I forgot. I did have an extra outline because I cut two when I'm cutting it, so I just add it as if it's a shadow. Trying to decide, do I want it up at the top or the bottom? I put it at the bottom, just centering it. And there we go. There is my kimono birthday card. So that is an idea on if you have a super special embellishment. This is a sort of a format of using it. I want to thank Angela from Tumbling Tangles who sent that to me. It really was an inspirational piece. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a fabulous day.